If you watch YouTube pickleball videos, this video is for you. In this video, I talked to you about some of the pitfalls potentially from watching YouTube videos. We're going to break down 3 areas that you need to watch out for. Let's get into it. Before we get too deep into the video, it's a fair warning. This video is for pickleball players who are looking to make serious progress in their game. We're going to speak like adults here. We're going to talk about the process of going from where you are now to where you want to be as a pickleball player. And I'm going to give you some constructive tips, some questions you can ask yourself about information you're receiving before you bring it into your game. This video does not offer any kind of magic tip or quick solution because frankly, those don't exist. If you made it past the fair warning, then I'm going to bet that you're in the group of players who want to go from where you are now to somewhere better, somewhere where you can grow as a pickleball player, where you'll know more about the game. You'll feel better because you have a deeper relationship with pickleball, and by extension, you're going to play better. But this doesn't happen overnight. It's not like you can just watch a YouTube video today that has the magic tip. There is no magic tip, but you watch a tip and then you wake up tomorrow and you're here. It's a process represented by this road or by this path to get from where you are now to where you want to go. And I'm here to tell you to where you can go if you want to get there, right? If you do things right, if you follow a good process, you can go from where you are now to becoming a much better pickleball player. I had the good fortune of being able to interview Dylan Frazier. If you know anything about pro pickleball, he's one of the top players in the world in pickleball. Him and JW Johnson are usually either the gold medalists or the silver medalists at the professional tournaments. So he's an amazing player. When he started playing, he was a 3.5, and now he's a pro player. Now, that doesn't mean that all of us can just, go from 3.5 to pro, but it shows you that there is a path to go from wherever you are now to somewhere in the future where you're playing much better pickleball. So let's talk about how to go from here to here in a constructive way that'll help you out. A lot of pickleball players use YouTube videos and advice, sometimes from friends at the court or other players at the court, sometimes from local pros. So we use YouTube videos and local advice in order to try and go from here to here. Sometimes that works, but more often than not, it doesn't work. And that's why you see pickleball players who are frustrated with their progress because they feel like they should be further along this path because they're watching all the videos, they're listening to all the advice, but for some reason, they're not making progress in their game. So what I want to do in this video is I want to give you 3 questions up here, 3 questions that you need to ask yourself before you accept any advice, either from a YouTube video or from anybody around, any local advice. Before you bring it into your game, before you bring it into your process, you need to ask these 3 questions and be able to answer yes to all 3. Hello and welcome to the channel. If we haven't met before, my name is Tony Roig. I'm a pickleball professional dedicated to helping players like you gain the information you need so you can accomplish your pickleball objectives. Together with my partner CJ Johnson, we have the largest library of free pickleball resources available anywhere. The first question you want to ask yourself before you allow information into your process, into your journey is the information correct? There is a lot of information out there, both in video form as well as on the courts, that is simply incorrect. I'm not suggesting that the players or the content creators providing that information meaningfully giving you incorrect information, but I am going to tell you that it's incorrect information is all over the place. And it can be pervasive to your game. In other words, it can be really damaging to your game, even long-term effects. And I'll give you an example of one. This drawing here is basically this player is waiting for the ball to bounce before they step into the non-volley zone. And what happens is, and I've heard it recently at courts that I've visited, where I'll hear instruction being given and I'll hear the non-volley zone rule explained as, you must wait until the ball bounces before you step into the non-volley zone. So what do players do? They stand on the edge of the non-volley zone and they're almost falling in, waiting for the ball to bounce before they step in. And a lot of times, by the time they step in, it's too late, or they can't take advantage of a ball that's going to bounce up they can do something with. Why? Because they received incorrect information. In other words, if they had asked this question, they would have said, no, that's incorrect. Don't bring it into my game. So the first question you want to ask yourself before you allow any information into your journey is it correct? If it's incorrect, let it go. If it's correct, then you can, at least you've answered the first question, and now you go to question number 2. You may be sitting there asking yourself, well, how am I supposed to know if the information is correct or not? In a minute, I'll give you some guidance on how you can make those determinations as to whether the information is correct, as well as the next 2 questions. But let's go ahead and continue the process. We've made a decision that the information is correct. We've answered yes to that one. Now we want to know, the next question is it complete? Is the information complete? And the example I can give you there, and again, a very pervasive, a very common misconception out there and mistaught rule, or not rule, but strategy is get up to the non-volley zone line. Yes, we do want to get up to the non-volley zone line, but that alone isn't enough of the picture. We don't have enough information there to know how to use that information. And so I do want to get to the non-volley zone line, but I don't want to rush up there blindly or rush up there irresponsibly, if you will, without really taking an assessment of what's going on the court. And I'm focusing specifically here on the serve side, right? So when the serves happen and now you or your partner hitting the third shot, well, players say all the time, and pros have taught this, and it's in videos, just get up to the non-volley zone line. You just have to get up there. The problem there is what happens is if you're rushing up blindly, you're getting smashed with a lot of balls because you're putting your body in the wrong spot at the time that your opponent is getting ready to smash that ball. Why are you doing that? Because someone told you, hey, you got to get up there. You got to just move. You got to mosey on up there. That is an example of incomplete information. Because while the general principle that strategically you do want to make it up to the non-volley zone line is correct, what's incorrect is it's missing information, right? Or what makes it incomplete is it's missing information because you're not told how to move up to the non-volley zone line in a way that won't expose you to needless attacks. So this is a great example of information that, while technically correct, i.e. get up to the non-volley zone line, it's incomplete because you don't have enough information within which to use that correct information appropriately. So the second question that you need to answer yes is the information complete? If the answer is no, then put the information off to the side or find a way to complete the information. If the information is complete, then you can move on to question number 3. As we move into question number 3, if you're serious about your progress and enjoying this content, consider subscribing to the channel. This is what we bring you. We bring you real content that you can actually use to accomplish your pickleball objectives. So we've answered yes to questions number 1 and number 2. So the information is correct and it is complete. There's still a third question that's super important, which is it right for you? Or you're asking it, is it right for me? Because there is a lot of information out there that is both correct and complete, but is not necessarily right for you right now where you are at along your path, right? The path I showed you earlier. Now, this is actually the largest group of information available, particularly on YouTube. I'll tell you that most content creators on YouTube are providing information that, generally speaking, is going to be correct. They're doing their best to give it to you to make it complete for you, right? But oftentimes, and I would say the vast majority of times, it is simply not right for the player watching it at that moment in time in their path. Good example is this shot here. That's the roll volley by great pro players, right? Hit this roll volley. It's a beautiful shot. I mean, they get down there, they roll that ball. I mean, it's a fantastic shot. It's a correct shot. It's a fine shot to have. It could be totally complete video showing you every step of the roll volley, exactly how to hit it with diagrams and everything. For most players, learning the roll volley is a save for later. Put that on the list of things down the road to learn. Because here's the thing, there's probably at least 10, but I'm gonna say probably 20 or 30 other things that'll give you so much more benefit right now in your game, will improve your game drastically more than developing this particular shot, the roll volley. And think about it this way. How often in a match or in a game are you gonna have an opportunity to hit the roll volley, right? And potentially change the outcome of a game? There's at least 10 other shots you can think about, right? 4-shot, third shot, serve, return. I mean, just go down the list. Different types of volleys, block volley, punch volley, bangers, out balls, all sorts of things you can do well before you get to this particular shot. So while the information is correct, or may be correct the way it's presented, and may also be complete, doesn't necessarily mean that it's right for you. And if it's not right for you, then you should consider not incorporating it into your game right now and leaving it in a save for later down the road at some point. But all 3 questions, correct, complete, and is it right for me, need to be answered yes before you consider bringing that information into your process, into your journey, and applying it to your game. Let me give you some guidance now on how you can better answer these 3 questions as you receive information in the future. Before I give you guidance, let me address an elephant in the room, which is this concept of feeling overwhelmed, right? Feeling frustrated because of the amount of information we're receiving isn't translating into us playing better. We live in an era of just constant information. You're watching a YouTube video right now, And chances are that when you leave this YouTube video, YouTube is going to feed you another video. It's going to say, hey, what about this one? What about this one? Because YouTube knows what you want, right? YouTube has the algorithm and it says, okay, you like pickleball. That's how you got this video to begin with. And now it's going to try and feed you another video. So what we end up doing is we end up getting on this contraption here, which my fellow coach and business partner, CJ Johnson, developed, the concept being like on the YouTube hamster wheel, right? Just running around this hamster wheel. And all we're doing is just replacing one video with another, with another, with another. It feels like we're doing something because we're watching videos. But the reality is when we go out to play, we haven't had time to incorporate any of the concepts in the videos. Even if they're correct, complete, and right for us, we haven't had time to do anything with it. So it can be easy to feel overwhelmed with the amount of information we're receiving, leading to frustration. If you can apply these 3 questions, you'll cut out a lot of the noise from your life right now, because you'll be able to determine if it's incorrect, it's out. If it's incomplete, it's out. If it's not right for you, and that's going to take a huge chunk out, allowing you to really focus on the areas that'll most improve your pickleball play. Let me give you a couple of shortcuts that you can use right now to guide you through this process while you continue to develop a better understanding of pickleball. And that's really going to be the long-term solution to this. But in the short term, start with trusted sources, right? When you watch a video here on Into Pickle, you can be assured that the information has been thoroughly vetted by us. We think about every angle on the information we provide, and we provide you with information that's actionable, that you can actually use, and that's relevant to most players. So we try and stick in a lane of information that's relevant to most players. And you know that the information we're providing is correct and complete. So sources like Into Pickle, like Better Pickleball, our friend Nicole Havlicek at Primetime Pickleball, our friend Barrett Kinchelo at the Pickleball Kitchen, all of us are providing to you what is good information, okay? So you can rely on trusted sources. There's others too. I wasn't trying to diss anybody who I didn't mention, but there are many content creators these days. If you find somebody who's a trusted source, you can rely on them. Along the same vein, be wary of new content creators, not because they're doing anything wrong necessarily, but we don't know them yet, right? You're not sure yet. So you can't really just blindly rely on their information because they haven't been around the block. You know, CJ and I have been making videos since 16 for CJ and 2018 for me. So that's 5 years and 7 years of creating pickleball content for YouTube. So you know that we've been at this for a long time and we're serious about what we're doing. So trusted sources would be a good way to kind of limit the scope of what you're doing. And then the second one is be honest in where you are. Like, be honest and looking at yourself. Where am I right now in the game? The roll volley I gave you an example of earlier, that should be pretty easy for most pickleball players to look at and go, you know what? There's some other stuff I got to focus on right now. There's other areas of my game that are affecting me much more than not having a roll volley. Spins is another example of an area that I think players gravitate to too early in their journeys. They jump to spins thinking spins is going to provide a great solution. It's not. In fact, I mentioned earlier, I got to interview Dylan Frazier earlier for the podcast. And one of the things that we talked about was the simplicity of his stroke. And he uses a simple stroke because he wants it to be repeatable. He wants it to be something that he can count on, and he knows that he can go, he can take it to the bank, knows he's not going to miss it. As opposed to having a more complicated stroke, which he probably could, at his level of play. He chooses the simpler stroke in a good way because he knows it's going to work better. So look at where you are, and then don't think that things are too simple for you, because pickleball at the end of the day is a game of unforced errors and of simple things done better and better and better. If you can master the simple things, you're going to play an amazing brand of pickleball and just play really nice pickleball. So these are 2 things you can do right now as shortcuts while you continue to work on your better understanding of the game. Let me give you some long-term guidance now in terms of your receipt of information into your process, into your journey. And you'll notice I left where you are, and the only word I changed was this one, because where you are is always going to be relevant. You always need to have an understanding of where you are. That's why CJ and I developed the Success Path inside our flagship course, the Pickleball System, which has everything you need to play amazing pickleball. But we have a Success Path in there. It overlays over the actual course materials because you need to know where you are in order to fully appreciate what is right for you right now. So where you are is always going to be on here, and you'll get better at it, at understanding what's next for me. So this is always going to be on here. The other one is framework. So instead of like just trusted sources, I'm going to kind of trust them blindly, is to understand better what's going on out there, right? How's this game put together? What are the objectives? What are the pieces of this puzzle, and how does the puzzle look? And how do the pieces work together so that you could make a decision as an intelligent human being you can make a decision. You know what? That makes sense given my understanding of the puzzle I'm trying to solve, as opposed to, I'm not really sure what's going on, but I'll go with that one for now, which, was the original guidance, because that's all we can do until we start learning the framework of the game, until we can start learning what the puzzle box looks like and making decisions for ourselves as to what's correct, what's complete, and what's right for me right now. As you develop a better understanding of the framework of pickleball, as you have a deeper relationship with this game and understand how the game is put together and what the puzzle box cover looks like, you'll be able to overlay that over where you are in the game to develop an action plan that you can then use to get from where you are now to where you want to go as a pickleball player. But let's start with this. Let's start by getting rid of the algorithm. Let's not let the algorithm, YouTube's algorithm, dictate what we do. Right now, what's happening is YouTube is feeding you videos and you're saying, okay, that's great. Let me go do that. And let me follow it. You're chasing all these YouTube videos. Let's get rid of that. And let's also get rid of this random advice, which is happening at your courts. Random players coming up and telling you, you know what, you got to do this, you got to do that in your game. Forget about that. What we're going to do is we're going to become more intentional by using the 3 questions and the guidance that you learned in this video. And we're going to think about it more like a system, more like there's a system that we want to follow if we actually want to get from where we are now to where we want to go. Step you can take right now, if you're not on our email list already, go to betterpickleball.com, join our email list. Every Saturday you'll get a newsletter with good information that'll help you improve your play. And in the meantime, I'm going to put a video up here. You know it's a trusted source because it's a pickle video, a video up here that'll help you continue on your pickleball journey. I'll see you next time.